All right. Greetings, welcome back, users. We've survived our first night of Feed the Beast Minecraft, and um, now what we want to do is we want to start utilizing these mods. We want to start taking advantage of them and using them to their fullest extent. Um, One of the first things that I like to do, um, because I've actually been playing on a server recently that uses the Minecraft mod pack, the FTB Minecraft pack, and the at least in the at least I know for sure in the Minecraft FTB pack, what they have installed is what's called GregTech, which is a mod specifically designed to make the recipes harder. Basically, there's new machines added, of course, that help with things and help you create new resources, but general consensus is that it's just there to make our lives hell. Um, Things like basic machines like maciators are 10 times harder to make. They require diamonds. A macerator. Oops, forgot I'm in cheat mode. So let's look at the recipe here. Okay, what I'm playing on right now is the Direwolf FTB pack. So it doesn't actually have uh, the GregTech recipes on it, which is a good thing. I can show you kind of the basic mods, um, and I'll actually list the GregTech recipes as I come across them. So um, let's get us an axe here. We're gonna go with an iron axe. So as I mentioned in the first episode, I like using charcoal for things like torches and stuff. Above all, because it's a renewable resource and it doesn't waste precious coal that is technically a finite resource. You know, there's only so much coal generated in the world. I mean, odds are you're never gonna run into an end of it or run out of it, but the fact is it's still a finite supply. So let's say we've got our charcoal going. Um, what that's going to do for us, of course, is provide us with torches, provide us with fuel for food, make some baked potatoes and things. Um, but one of the first things I like to do when um, where am I going? One of the first things I like to do when it comes to uh, Minecraft resources is when I start finding ores, I like to maximize and use my ore most efficiently. Um, so let's go ahead and let's get started with one of the first mods that I want to showcase here. So let's jump into creative mode. And what I've got here is I've got thermal expansion technology, which is thermal expansion is a mod extension. It works closely in conjunction with red power. And one of the first things it does for us is it provides us with things called an induction smelter. Um, which placing down the induction smelter, you'll see that it has a really cool, colorful interface, which I just love. Open it up here, you'll see that each one of these colors coordinates with a special slot. So you've got inputs, you've got outputs, and you've got byproducts, which are these little yellow ones here. Now what you'll see over here is a little meter with looks like /4800 MJ. Now that is a form of energy. That's a Minecraft joule. So it's basically an energy unit. So this thing has an internal storage of about 4800 Minecraft joules. Now what we have to do is that means that we have to power this somehow. So that's why I've grabbed a couple engines here. Thermal expansion actually gives us the magnetic engine, which as you can see here is crafted by making 10 gears, a piston, and some 10 ingots. So not the cheapest thing to make when you're first starting out, obviously. We've got a Stirling engine here also that I wanted to show off, which is really simple to make. It's just made with a couple stone gears, a piston, some cobblestone, and some glass. Those are all basic things we can get. Now the stone gear is actually made from crafting a wooden gear, which is basically 4 sticks. So one thing you'll find with Feed the Beast is that the most complicated thing is tracing back your steps, trying to find out how I'm gonna make something, what I need to make it up. So, I want to make an engine, but that means I gotta make stone gears, which means I have to make these gears, which means I have to make sticks. So you get lost a lot. But in order to help with that, thermal expansion and red power have given us things like the project table, which is basically a crafting table. Oops. There we go. Which is basically a crafting table with a nice little stone top and a chest built into it. So in order to make the project table, you need a chest, 4 planks, a crafting table, and then 3 regular stone. And then what you do is that gives you this guy, which you can actually place things inside here. As you can see, it's not in my inventory anymore. It's sitting in this inventory here. And it also comes in real handy if you've got, friends maybe you're playing with, or things you want to start a project and then you want to, run off and go grab something and come back and finish it because you forgot it, which I do a lot. You've got this nice little fancy interface. Now what you can actually do is you can set one piece in here and it'll give you the planks, right? Now if you set one piece in here and set your extra, it'll allow you to keep making them and pull from that bottom inventory, which comes in extremely handy if you want to, lay the pattern down, which you can actually save the pattern of something. If you can actually put in a recipe right here, or I think it's a piece of paper. We'll save the recipe for you. So anytime you want to throw in the recipe, it gives you a template, and then you can just boom, 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 knock out a whole bunch of them at once. So we're gonna make a couple sets of sticks here. And what we do then is, we make our sticks into stone gears, 1, 2, and then we take those stone gears and surround them in cobblestone and make 2 of those. So that's how we're making our Stirling engines, with stone gears and of course a vanilla piston, which is cobblestone, an iron, a redstone, and planks across the top. That recipe hasn't changed. That's the same. What it'll do is it'll cycle through all the different types of wood that you can use to make this recipe, which comes in real handy. So then we get our Stirling engine. Now, what you can do with this Stirling engine is you can plop it down on the back of your machine, and it gives you a nice little interface right here. Now, a Stirling engine runs off of some kind of combustible power. So if we get ourselves a stack of charcoal, we put that in here. Then what we're going to want to do is, where'd my cobblestone go? See, I forgot my cobblestone over here. What we're going to want to do is whack a lever down. And what this does is it starts firing up the engine for us. Now what you can see is it's going to start slowly building up stored energy. But we're not going to want to do that just yet. And it should stop. Well, ideally, like I said, you'll want to, get all the excess off. But let's go ahead and set the time of day. Matter of fact, let's... There we go. Only day. What I like about these thermal expansion machines is that what they actually have is they have it completely customizable so that you can direct which direction all of these sides face. So let's say we've got the top of it right now, it says yellow. So that means that right now the yellow, the byproduct, is going to come spitting out the top. Now we don't want that. What we want is, we need to open up this configuration window, which shows the front of the machine. You've got the top of the machine, the bottom of the machine, the left, the right, and the back of it. Now this is all as you're looking at the front of the machine. So even if I access it from back here, the green is still on the other side. Oops, sorry, it's still on the other side because it's based on the front of the machine. So what I like to do is take and switch this top here, switch it to green so that I have my input coming in from the top maybe. Let's say I have a pipe coming in from the left, I can certainly leave that on the left, or I can close this face off so it's not used. Another thing is going out the back. We don't want anything. Maybe the bottom will be the excess. That all makes sense. You can completely move it around however you want, based on how you got your machines. Now, what I've actually found is that I have been using what's called a pulverizer. Now, what the pulverizer does is it actually allows you to break down ore. It allows you to crush ore into dust, into pulverized dust. So if I were to take and put a piece of iron, let's say we've got ourselves a couple iron ore here, right? Well, first we need to get it power. So we're going to set another engine down there, put a lever on it, and we're all out of charcoal because we put in our other machine. So we'll get another stack here. Alright, so if we start building up energy now, alright, and we stick a piece of iron ore in there, what this machine's going to do is it's going to break down the iron into two pieces of pulverized iron. Now what that pulverized iron can be done with is you take it and smelt it, or cook it, or furnace it into each piece of dust into another ingot. So one ore gives you two dust, gives you two ingots. So what we've done is we've doubled our resource capabilities. How much energy do you need, bud? Come on. Oh, you know what? I better check my input. Status. Okay, so it also, each machine has a redstone control panel here, which means that, you know, if redstone's disabled, it means redstone doesn't affect it. If you have control status enabled, that means that if you throw a lever down, you can actually turn it off or allow it to continue turning on. Now, if you have it on this final one, it means that you have to have a redstone signal on in order for the machine to work. So that's, you get kind of used to that. I do that a lot with some of the machines will kind of run automatically unless you turn it off. So what we've got is we've got two pulverized iron dust, and that can be used in any kind of furnace. Like I could go take it put it back here in my vanilla furnace that I've put down. Oh, I guess I didn't put it down yet, did I? There we go. See, we have a furnace. I could throw the iron in here, and I'd get two out of it. Burn down a couple saplings there. One piece of dust is going to give me one ingot. There we go. And then the other piece of dust will give me another ingot. So I've already doubled my ore right there, just with this basic mod right here. Now, I suppose I should probably explain exactly how this machine is made. Now, what we've got here is it starts with a piston. You got to get a couple pieces of flint. Starts with 2 copper, which is some of the new ore generated by the mod. And then you've got this thing called a redstone reception coil. Now if we click on that, it tells us that it's made from 1 gold ingot and 2 redstone dust. Now that can be made in any kind of crafting table. You know, we've got the little project table right over here. We'll just put our gold and our redstone, and that's going to make it. Now there is another piece, which was the machine frame, which clicking on it tells us that it's just made from gold, iron, and glass. So those materials really aren't that resource intensive. Obviously, we're going to have to dig down and get down to our gold level in order to find that. Now, you are going to have to smelt those first before we can have that. Now, I like the induction smelter here because it's also made from a machine frame. That's going to be, you're going to find that as the basic building block of a lot of these thermal expansion machines, and then another redstone reception coil. So, matter of fact, if we find out all the things that this is used for, you'll see powered furnace, pulverizer, a sawmill, which will break down your wooden items back into wood materials, and you've got an induction smelter, which I've got here, magma crucible, liquid transposer. These are all incredibly important machines, but I'm just going to go over these two for now. So we were looking at the induction smelter, and we also saw that it takes a bucket and sand instead of a piston and flint. So once we make that, we place it down. What the induction smelter does is it actually requires sand to be placed in here with an ore, and what it'll do for you is it'll smelt the ore down into directly into 2 different ingots for you. Now, I actually fall prey to this myself on my Let's Play, and I've been using the pulverizer to pulverize my ore before I smelt it. Now, what you can do is just you can pulverize iron into 2 dust, put the 2 dust in the smelter, and boom, you get 2 ingots out. It actually has to do it 2 at a time. But I was doing a little bit further research, and I found that putting in the ore like this, ore and sand. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. It's not ore and sand. Okay, I am mistaken. In order to use the induction smelter with sand, you do have to have the pulverized iron. Sorry, this is a little bit complicated. I'm making this more harder than it needs to be. Pulverizing my iron down into 2 pieces of dust. As soon as it goes, will give me 2 iron dust. Then, if I take these 2 iron dust, it smelts it with a piece of sand to give me 2 ingots. Now, what you'll also find... Whoops. Dang it. See, look at that. I've got my machines turned on. What it did was this machine emptied out the discharge directly back into my pulverizer, which then pulverized my iron once again. Well, I can't do anything with 1 piece of pulverized iron. I need 2. So, we need to be careful with how close we set these things. I've actually got a pretty good setup in my Let's Play world with the Minecraft fan server folks. Alright, so we're going to smelt this down. We're going to get 2 ingots out of it. I like the induction smelter because it goes really, really fast. Now, what you normally get is if you do enough of this, you'll get slag as a byproduct, which if we look that up real quick, looks like this. Now, this slag, it'll usually pop up right down here, is actually kind of useful because what you can do with slag is you can smelt it down into what's called rock wool. Now, rock wool, when smelting down, looks just like wool. Listen, I'm pretty sure it looks just like it, but it's completely fireproof. So yeah, if we have some blue rock wool, you'll see that it looks and feels, just like wool. I'm in creative mode, so I can't see how it breaks, but what you'll find is that if I were to light that on fire, it wouldn't burn. So that's about the only real use for rock wool right now, I think. Because if you look up rock wool, look up the uses for it, it gives you all the different colors of rock wool. It doesn't actually show anything else it's used for. Now, what I was going to say was if you take... Okay, I believe it's if you take the ore... Okay, if you take the ore, I just didn't have enough energy built up. Take the ore and you smelt it down, you'll get 2 ingots for it, and you also get the probability of giving you rich slag. Now, rich slag is pretty vital stuff because rich slag can be used with the pulverized ingots. So let's let this go for a little while. Well, I can go ahead and demonstrate this now. We've got... we were smelting down our ore. We got 2 ingots out of it and rich slag, right? So then what we do is we pulverize some of our iron. Alright, so apparently I needed to turn the control off on the redstone, and I got it to pulverize this iron down for us. And what we can do with these pulverized iron is go back over here, and again, turn this on. See if we get another rich slag. Nope, that's alright. So what we can do is we can take the sand out, put our rich slag in there instead with the pulverized iron, and that consumes 2 of them in 1 rich slag and will give us 3 ingots there. So you can essentially triple your ore intake with some of these machines. So every time you find that one piece of iron underground, you can actually ideally make three ingots out of it. There we go. If I can figure out what I'm talking about. So these are the two basic introductory machines in thermal expansion. And this is what I like to use first off, or as soon as possible, to try to get and to try to maximize your resources. I think I'm going to go ahead and call that one for this episode, and tune in next, and I'll go ahead and go over the magnetic engine next time, because that can be a little bit more in depth. But it's also one of my favorite machines with thermal expansion. So. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate the support. If you enjoyed what you saw, give me a like, maybe subscribe. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more of these videos coming, and of course if there's anything you guys would like to see in future episodes, I've actually included a Google form down below in the description that you guys can fill out for suggestions / feedback, so you guys tell me how I'm doing and what you guys like. I appreciate all the support, and stay tuned for more.